Jai Gurudev, everybody. Welcome back to another session of Bhakti Marga philosophy. Today we're gonna have Bhakti Marga introduced. So it's gonna be kind of a final lecture on this topic, Bhakti Marga philosophy, where we try to connect the dots, all the different sessions what we had about Hinduism, the different philosophies, the different paths of yoga, and how they are related with this spiritual path, Bhakti Marga, which I follow. So let's start straight away. Let's jump straight away into the theme. Bhakti Marga philosophy, Bhakti Marga introduced. So what does Bhakti Marga mean? Bhakti means love and devotion, and Marga means the path. So Bhakti Marga means the path of love and devotion, in which we try to establish and deepen our intimate love relationship with God. So as you remember, or as you know, there's many different yoga paths. We've spoken in the video about yoga that yoga has many different approaches. They're all directed to attain unity of the individual self, of the limited self with the ultimate. And in Bhakti, the approach is through love and devotion. In Bhakti Marga, everything is about creating a love relationship with God. If you want to bring it to a very basic level, love relationships we all know, but we don't know God. God is a very abstract term. In our tradition, as you might know from the last lectures, we believe God being omnipresent everywhere and being present also within us, within you, within everybody. So God is within us and around us. If Bhakti Marga is therefore the path where I establish a love relationship with God, it means that in the first place I establish a love relationship with myself. To love and to accept myself fully, to realize this true essence of this divine spark which I am. That is the core. And then, like Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But it's obvious, firstly, you have to love yourself. You have to find this love within. That is what the essence of Bhakti Marga is. Everything what we do on this path, everything what we learn, everything what we practice, everything what Paramahamsa Vishwananda does, is to get us to this ultimate love relationship with God. Which means to first love yourself, then see this divine more and more in other people. Love the others, love animals, love the nature, love everything, love life. That in the very core, in a very simple terminology, is what Bhakti Marga is, and everything circles around that. Yeah? So this is for the basic introduction. If that is enough for you, you're good to go. Yeah. Now, if you want to look onto a deeper level, we have to go back a little bit to our philosophical standpoints. The philosophical standpoints, which you remember we spoke in the Vaishnava tradition video, in the spiritual traditions, the Sri Sampradaya video, we spoke about those things more in detail, more in depth. I just want to bring it up a moment. The questions, who am I? Who are we? And the very simple answer, you are a jiva. You are divine atma, a divine self, a jiva atma. You're not this body. You're not this material body, but you're a spiritual being which resides within the body. That is the first premise which we have to be aware of. The second, what is the goal of life? What's the purpose? Why am I here? That is a very important question. What is the goal? And if I want to simplify it really just in 1-2 words, it is to realize God. To realize God, which implements, of course, to firstly realize this divine spark which I am, to realize the divine which is residing everywhere, and finally to realize the love relationship which I have, which this divine spark which I am has with the ultimate. That is, in short said, God realization. That is what everything is for. That's what life is for, or lives is for. Who is God? In simple terminology, again, one word, Narayana. God is Narayana. Narayana literally means the one who is present within everybody and everything is present within him. That is who Narayana is. And then there are all his divine manifestations. Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, Buddha, Jesus, etc. What is our relationship with God? The relationship with God is not a very distant one, but it's a very intimate and close one. It's a relationship of love, of deep, intimate love, eternal love relationship between the beloved and the lover. And what is my relationship with this world? Why I am on this world? What's the purpose of being on earth? This world is actually a platform. It's a beautiful place where I can develop this love, where I can remove more and more my ignorance, evolve from my ignorance, and again dive deeper into this love relationship, into this realization of the omnipresence and of the love of God. So these are some philosophical premises, standpoints, which I need to have in mind if I want to understand this path of Bhakti Marga. We are not this body, we are divine Jiva. We are here to realize God, God who is Narayana, the one who is present within everybody and everything is present within him. Our relationship with him is a relationship of eternal love, and we are here to evolve, we are here to grow. It's an opportunity. Now that we have seen this, the philosophical standpoint, we can actually see the path which every soul goes through, which every human being kind of goes through. So what we all have in common is that we seek fulfillment. Every human being seeks fulfillment. Doesn't matter if you're rich or if you're poor. You always seek fulfillment. Doesn't matter if you live in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, which culture you belong. Human just seeks fulfillment through pleasures, through belongings, through different things. But it's always a seeking of being fulfilled. With time that we have experienced many things, that you experience fulfillment in relationships, you experience fulfillment with material things. But the thing is, they're always short-lived. You either suffer because you don't attain what you seek, you don't get what you desire. That can be one option. Or once you get what you desire, with time it will also disappear again, because everything in the material world is temporary. And therefore, again, there is a form of suffering, and the fulfillment is never complete. Once you have experienced that over and over again, you come to a realization that fulfillment lies not in the outside reality, not in this material world, but fulfillment lies within. It depends how I see the world. It doesn't depend how the world actually is. If I see the world with the right eyes, I can be fulfilled anywhere at any time. And that is where we start the spiritual path. We start to engage on a spiritual search, where we put out the questions. There must be more to life. There must be more to existence. And once we start this endeavor, we of course encounter many teachers. We will meet many teachers and we will meet many teachings. Physical ones, books, ideas, all things which make us reflect and grow in our awareness, in our consciousness. The more we grow, the more we evolve, the more we start to develop a sincere longing for the ultimate truth that culminates in the meeting of a true spiritual master. So many different teachers you meet, and then it culminates in the meeting of the true spiritual master. Many Shishya Gurus, one Satguru. We have spoken about this principle in the Guru Principle video. So if you want to know more about it, please watch that video. Once you meet the true spiritual master, once he calls you and you encounter, then he gives tools. He gives you tools. So in Bhakti Marga, Paramahamsa Vishwananda is the Satguru. He is that divine teacher which firstly gives us certain tools, because when we start on this inner journey, there is just certain obstacles which we all experience. Our mind, our desires, our habits, our ego, our limitations, all these obstacles we find on the path. And there's different tools which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives us so that we can overcome those tools. He guides everybody individually. He gives certain clear guidelines for everybody in a general way, but then the true master also knows the particularity about each person and can therefore guide you on your path individually. And that is what Paramahamsa Vishwananda does. He gives tools and then he guides and elevates the seeker personally and individually. And finally, once we are ready, once we are at that level, he gives this absolute grace for God realization. Once we have done our part, once we have evolved through a certain effort and engagement, he will grace us with the final God realization. So this is the path which every spiritual seeker goes through. The story of a human being. So Paramahamsa Vishwananda, like I said, he is a Satguru. He is such a teacher which, like in the previous video of the Guru Principle, I have tried to explain what it means, a divine teacher. Somebody who is God realized, or even God himself who manifests for the upliftment of the world. Paramahamsa Vishwananda said, always my mission is to open the heart of man. To open the heart of man to this unconditional love, to this true essence, what we are. That's what he is here and that's what he is doing. So if I'm trying to give an identity to Paramahamsa Vishwananda, which is of course difficult because masters like him, beings like him, you can't put in a box, you can't limit to something. But still I would give him some identities for the sake of having an overview. And one of them would be, he is a Satguru. He's a true master. He is the founder of Bhakti Marga. Bhakti Marga, this movement where people, where there's a global community of individuals which seek God realization. That is what Bhakti Marga is, a global community of individuals which seek God realization. Eventually or finally through the grace of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. So this movement, this organization, this organism of seekers, of lovers of God, that is what Bhakti Marga is. And Paramahamsa Vishwananda is the founder of that path. He's a Vaishnavacharya. This was explained in the section of Vaishnava traditions. Vaishnava tradition is one tradition in the Hindu world. Yeah, like I have explained, Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma, this eternal, universal, cosmic laws, where there are some principles which everybody follows. The idea of Brahman, a higher reality, the idea of Atman, which seeks the higher reality, the idea of karma, which limits us, and we are bound in a physical reality through the cycle of samsara. And by living according to Dharma, the righteous way of living, we can attain moksha, liberation, and that all of this is guided by the spiritual master. Those ideas are commonly accepted, but then there's different branches, and one of them is the Vaishnava branch. And like I said before, in the Vaishnava branch, Narayana and his divine manifestations like Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, and so on are being worshipped. It is about devotional service and surrender to God. Paramahamsa Vishwananda, being a Vaishnavacharya, means that he teaches this tradition, that he teaches this path. And he is a Kriya Yoga master. Kriya Yoga master, like we spoke in the section in the video, Kriya Yoga and Bhakti. I told you that Paramahamsa Vishwananda, together with Mahavatar Babaji, brought an updated form of Kriya Yoga to the world. He is master of Kriya Yoga. He is aware of all the Kriya that exists and gives according to the people. He has the absolute realization of all the Kriyas and gives it to the benefit of the people. So these are some identities I could give to Paramahamsa Vishwananda if I would like to, if I try to put him, define him in some way. So Bhakti Marga, being founded by Paramahamsa Vishwananda, being guided by Paramahamsa Vishwananda, is centered in ancient traditions. It is not something new invented, but it's centered in two very ancient traditions. One lineage is the Kriya Yoga lineage. The Kriya Yoga lineage, where Mahavatar Babaji is a major figure. Paramahamsa Vishwananda was initiated in 2002 by Mahavatar Babaji into the Sannyas order, into the Swami order, and he has received then the name of Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means great swan. The swan in the Hindu tradition is a sacred animal because it is capable to extract milk from water. When milk and water are mixed, it creates just one unit. Milk and water mixes. But the swan is capable, even when milk and water is mixed, to extract just the milk. And therefore, Paramahamsa is somebody who is capable in this diluted world to extract the essence of everything. From this tradition, from this lineage, from this Kriya Yoga lineage, Bhakti Marga has adopted the practice of Atma Kriya Yoga. Atma Kriya Yoga is this updated Kriya Yoga practice which is rooted in Bhakti. Every technique is awakening a different form of love, with every breath, with every practice, this love for God is growing, and this is adapted to the modern time for the seekers of nowadays. I have explained all of this more clearly in the video of Kriya Yoga, what makes it so adaptable to the modern time and what are the particularities of that practice is all explained in that video. So if you're more interested about it, please watch that video. Sometimes it's considered as the path of inner bhakti. Inner bhakti because it is practice where you go within. You develop the love for God through going within, through silent meditation and so on. And this practice serves as our main yoga and meditation practice in Bhakti Marga. There's more practices in Bhakti Marga available, but the main meditation practice is Atma Kriya Yoga. If somebody practices Atma Kriya Yoga, gets initiated into Atma Kriya Yoga, because like I explained in the last video, in the Kriya Yoga video, one part of the teaching is SHAKTI part, where you get the initiation, where the grace of this tradition is being infused into you and awakened in you, so that you get the full benefit of your practice. With this initiation, you will develop much quicker and much better your love for God. To be initiated, somebody doesn't need to be a devotee of Bhakti Marga or Paramahamsa Vishwananda. Atma Kriya Yoga is a practice which is available for everybody, for every seeker who wants to practice and to dive within Atma Kriya Yoga is available. The second lineage what we have, the second tradition which we follow, is the Sri Vaishnava tradition. Like I explained in the Vaishnava tradition video and in the spiritual tradition, the Sri Sampradaya video, this tradition is actually our philosophical and religious basis. It's the last point on this slide. This tradition serves as our philosophical and religious basis. In 2008, Paramahamsa Vishwananda was initiated by Vedavyasa Rangaraja Bhattacharya into the Sri Vaishnava tradition. This initiation happened in Sri Rangam, which is the main spiritual center for this tradition in Tamil Nadu. This tradition originates from the Divine Mother Mahalakshmi. It was formalized by Sri Ramanujacharya, which you see on the picture, and it is generally considered as the path of outer bhakti, because it engages in rituals, it has to do with philosophical thinking and so on. So this is the second tradition where Bhakti Marga is based in, is rooted in. Sometimes people ask, in Bhakti Marga, can you enter into Bhakti Marga? Can you become part of Bhakti Marga? Or do you have to enter into Bhakti Marga? And the answer is, you don't have to, but you can. How can you? It is when you get initiated as a devotee, then you enter into the spiritual order. As a devotee, you get initiated into the Sri Sampradaya, into the Sri Vaishnava tradition, which is our philosophical and religious background or basis, and you actually connect yourself to this ancient tradition, receive the grace of this ancient tradition. Do you have to do that to follow Bhakti Marga? Not at all. Anybody is welcome in Bhakti Marga. Anybody is welcome to encounter Paramahamsa Vishwananda. Everybody is welcome to learn and to practice our teachings. If somebody feels that he is in line or he feels attracted by the teachings of this tradition, the teachings of Paramahamsa Vishwananda, if somebody feels that he wants to follow this path and go deeper and deeper, and especially if somebody feels that Paramahamsa Vishwananda is his Sadguru or her Sadguru, that he is this teacher which will guide him or her to the final destination. If this is a strong feeling and a strong calling, then somebody can enter into the spiritual order and can request to be initiated. But like I said, it is not a must at all. Yeah? So far to recap, in the beginning I said the basic of Bhakti Marga is the path of love and devotion, where you establish a love relationship with God, God who is seated within. So establishing first your love relationship with yourself to realize yourself, and then love all around you, everybody, because God is also present there. Not just knowing it, but realizing it. Then we have looked at the spiritual, at the philosophical standpoint, that we are a jiva, we are a divine soul, not this body. Apologize. We are here to attain God realization. God is Narayana, the all-pervading. Our relationship with Him is an intimate love relationship, and this world is a platform to establish this and evolve on the spiritual path. And like every soul, every human being, we go through different phases. We seek fulfillment. We don't find fulfillment. Then the spiritual journey starts. We meet the Master and He instructs us. He guides us and He gives finally the grace. Paramahamsa Vishwananda is a Sadguru, the founder of Bhakti Marga. He is a teacher of this Vaishnava tradition. He is a master of Kriya Yoga, the other tradition where we are centered, this true tradition, the Kriya Yoga tradition and the Vaishnava tradition. That said, we look now at the tools which Bhakti Marga offers, or better, which the Master, which Paramahamsa Vishwananda has given us on this path. The tools he has given us are four mainly. The first tool what he gives us is knowledge. So he gives us an understanding of the metaphysical concepts, like God, soul and the world, on a very high level from the scriptures. But also he gives us practical teachings for our day-to-day life. How to overcome doubts, how to be more stable and centered on our path, how to be more clear about life, our duties in life, how to interact with this world. All of this is what we learn in the knowledge branch of the tools which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives. The knowledge is mainly taken from the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Guru Gita, and other scriptures, and of course from the direct guidance of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. The Bhagavad Gita is, like I said in one of the first lectures, is a manual for every life circumstance. So all of this knowledge is being given in the knowledge section of the tools of Bhakti Marga. The second tool which we receive is yoga and meditation. Yoga and meditation are practices which calm our mind and make us dive, or help us to dive deeper within the true nature of what we are. And like I said, there's many different practices which Paramahamsa Vishwananda has given. Very simple ones for people who are just starting on that path, and ultimately very deep going ones, like I said before, Atma Kriya Yoga being the main spiritual or the main yoga and meditation practice in Atma Kriya, in Bhakti Marga. Yeah, there's also group practices like Om chanting and so on. So the second tool is yoga and meditation, which everybody can learn and profit from. The third tool which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives us on the path are devotional arts. Devotional arts are a way to express our love for God in a joyful way, intuitively, through music, for example. Music, spiritual music, kirtans and bhajans are very, very present in Bhakti Marga, very much practiced. Or spiritual art, meditative art, painting of deities, painting of saints, of yantras, where you dive within the painting you are making, you express your love for that deity, and it becomes like a meditation. That is the third tool Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives, the devotional arts. And the fourth one are rituals. Rituals which are an ancient science which establish and deepen our love relationship with God, the love relationship of the self with God, through ritual and mantra. Mantras are sacred vibrational words where you calm the mind, you open the heart. It's a big science, and there is many of them, and this is a whole world in itself. Rituals which are practiced very much in Bhakti Marga also. So there are these four tools which Bhakti Marga provides, which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives us, so that we can engage with God, firstly to have the right understanding, to be clear about principles of life, to remove doubts, to be more stable on our path, to have meditation techniques to go within and deepen our relationship within, to express our love relationship, our love for God through art, through music, and to establish this love relationship through the rituals, through the engagement with the deity in the outside, and the mantras. Yeah, so these are the four tools which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives, and then all of this takes place in the concept of Sangha. Sangha means community, and Sangha is a very important part in Bhakti Marga. Bhakti Marga is not a solitary path where you retire yourself to a cave in the Himalayas and stay for yourself for 20 years. No, but it's a path where you join in a big spiritual family of like-minded people which also seek, and where you support each other, you grow with each other. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in chapter 10 verse 9, their consciousness full of me, their life wholly given up to me, illuminating each other, mutually talking about me, they are ever content and joyful. This is the idea of Sangha. People who come together to share their love for God, to share their ideas, to speak about God and the Master, to speak about the Leelas, the stories of God, to enlighten each other. And through that, they stay content and joyful through that community we stay content and joyful, because we all have similar experiences and we can support each other to grow. Therefore, there's a worldwide community in over 70 countries where Paramahamsa Vishwananda has created these communities of spiritual seekers, where if you are interested, you're most welcome to join and give you a part. You see, it is very important with whom we spend our time. It's a very common concept. You might be in a good mood, but you join a group of depressive people, or even just one depressed person, which is lamenting all the time. It doesn't take long that also you are influenced by this negativity. On the other hand, you might be not in a great mood and you join a group of joyful people. With time, you will automatically become joyful as well. Because the community, the vibration which they have, is influencing you. So therefore, a community of seekers of God, of seekers of God realization, of truth, is very, very important. When nothing else works, go into the presence of devotees. That will definitely help you to grow again. And said that, of course, the idea of the presence of the Master is very important. Like I said, when you are in a with negative people, you will be influenced negatively. If you are with positive people, you will be influenced positively. If you're now in the presence of divine beings, somebody who is constantly in this divine love, then of course also that will influence you. Therefore, it is so important to be in the presence of the Master. To be in the presence of the Master, to be in the presence of Paramahamsa Vishwananda, is actually quite simple, because he is still on this earth. He's traveling around the world when it is possible to spread his love, to spread his blessings to everybody. Especially through darshan. Darshan means divine sight. It is a blessing which Paramahamsa Vishwananda gives. Normally, when there's a physical encounter, everybody goes individually to him and he lays the hand on your head and looks into your eyes. At least that it seems from the outside. In reality, like he sometimes explained, he doesn't look into our eyes, he looks into the depth of our being. And he sees this essence of what we are, covered by various layers of karma, ignorance, and so on. And with each darshan, he removes certain limitations and certain ignorance, so that this light, what we are, can shine more brightly. Nowadays, with the crisis of COVID-19, such gatherings are almost not allowed, but that didn't stop Paramahamsa Vishwananda of giving this blessing. So he has started to give online darshans. Almost every week he is now giving online darshan, where you don't need to travel far anymore, but you just need to connect through your computer or other devices and get the same blessings through that online darshan. Because the Master is not limited by time and space. So the online darshan is a very easy, accessible way of being in the presence of the Master and receiving his blessings. And I really do encourage you to take the chance, if you have it, to get his blessings as often as you can. Receive as many blessings till you yourself become a blessing. That is how I would see it. It's not a one-time thing. Yes, you can of course get the one darshan, and it's very beautiful, and it will change your life in some way and another, because if you feel it or if you don't feel it, the Master is here to help you, to uplift you, to awaken this love within you. The more you let him shower his love upon you, the more you will grow in that love. So I would encourage you, if you're interested, check it out on the webpage or on your national page, how the opportunities are. And another way to be in the presence of the Master is through satsang. The word sangha we have explained before, sangha meaning a community or a gathering. Sat, the word means truth, like in the word Sat Guru, a true Guru. Satsanga means a true Sangha, a true community, a community of seekers of the truth. And in a satsang with Paramahamsa Vishwananda, it's firstly and mainly, it is about being in the presence of the Master. Like we have explained before, being in the presence of a divine Master is influencing, is affecting you positively, like anybody else will affect you when you are in their presence. More so the Master does. And like I said, if physical is possible, great. If not, you can also connect via the social medias. In a satsang, he gives answers to spiritual questions. In a satsang, there might be singing of God's name. In a satsang, there is the execution of some rituals, of some ancient rituals for the benefit of everybody and the uplifting of the world. Also, this you can experience either when you go to a center where Paramahamsa Vishwananda is, or you can connect to the series Connecting with the Divine, which is also online every week almost. Paramahamsa Vishwananda comes, giving satsang, doing a prayer together with everybody who joins for the welfare of the world, chanting God's name. So feel free to join there and profit from the presence of a Satguru. Profit from the presence of Divine Master. Profits from the presence of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. So, coming towards the end, the path and the goal, what is it actually? Because they are kind of connected. Guruji says very clearly, love is the beginning, love is the path, and love is the end. That's the mystery, what love is. So what is the path? The path is connected with bhakti. Bhakti, what we said, is love and devotion, but we could also say bhakti is love in action. Because if bhakti is to have a love relationship with God, when you are in love, what are you doing? You express your love. When you're in a love relationship, you express your love. With your beloved, you will cook the best food. You will show the best side of you. You will always strive to be the best version of yourself, to please your beloved. And the same thing is when you are in love with God. Bhakti is the striving to become the best version of yourself. Not for your sake, but for His sake. Because you want to show Him how much you love Him. Love in action. This love in action is done in Bhakti Marga with an idea, with an attitude of seva. Seva, which means selfless service. Or more specific word would be kenkaryam. Kenkaryam means eternal servitude. Because you know this divine soul which you are is the eternal lover. It's the eternal servant of God. Servant doesn't mean to be a slave, how it is sometimes seen. No, if somebody has ever experienced the joy of true service and love, he knows what I'm talking about. Again, take the example when you are deeply in love with somebody. How beautiful is it to do service to your beloved, to do them something good? Or a parent who loves dearly their child. How much would that parent give, forgetting completely about themselves and serving the beloved one? Not because it is requested, no, because it is an expression of the love what we have. That kind of attitude is what we seek in Bhakti Marga, with how we want to live every day of our life. And that, of course, culminates in Sharanagati, which means complete self-surrender. The more we act in love, the more we act selflessly in love for the pleasure of God, who is present within everybody, the more we forget about I, mine and me, and the more this true essence of what we are awakens. But that happens when we surrender completely. Once we surrender completely, once we are ready to abandon all ideas of I, mine and me, and we trust fully in the grace of God, in the grace of the Master, then the ultimate God realization, the ultimate love relationship with God will be revealed. This is, in short, the things which are the path of Bhakti Marga. So, in summary, before we come to the summary, the spiritual center, like I said, the vision of Bhakti Marga is to have a global community of people who seek God realization through the grace of Paramahamsa Vishwananda, and his teachings, his traveling, his spreading of his love has developed more and more into an organization, the organization being called Bhakti Marga, and of course it has developed also into spiritual centers, physical places where people can actually join, where people can learn, where people can grow together. So there's worldwide centers all like in the USA, in India, in Europe, everywhere. The headquarters is in Germany, where I'm sitting right now. The center is called Sri Pita Nilaya. Sri Pita Nilaya means the abode of the Divine Mother, Mahalakshmi. It's also the home of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. So it is a very, very beautiful place. You can see in this little picture here on the side, it is near Frankfurt, but it's outside in the middle of the greenery, right next to the forest, in a small village. It's very beautiful, and Paramahamsa Vishwananda has always said, through the presence of the Divine Mother, through the daily prayers and efforts which everybody puts in, and of course through his presence, this place is a spiritual center point where your upliftment, your spiritual upliftment will be amplified just by being here. And I can just confirm it from many devotees who have visited this place, that it feels like entering a different world. So if you want, you're most welcome to visit the center. The center is an event center. It is a monastery where monks and nuns live, but it is an open monastery where many events take place, many events also with Paramahamsa Vishwananda. We have a very beautiful big Hindu temple, there's a Hindu museum, and much more for you to discover. A beautiful big garden. We have our own cows, we have our own bees. There's a hotel where you can stay overnight. Every day There's 3 times very good vegan food, vegetarian food being offered. All of this you can experience here, participating in the prayers, in the meditations, in the teachings, because it's an open center. Paramahamsa Vishwananda has said from the very beginning, this place is not only for those who live here, but it's open for every seeker who is finding something here, who wants to come to an oasis of peace and dive more within. You are most welcome to come here. Of course, as much as the law allows now with the pandemic, but generally it is an open center, and if you're interested, just inform yourself on the internet and or leave something in the comment, and I will try to answer if you have questions. And yeah, so this is an introduction to Bhakti Marga. If I need to summarize it somehow, this little picture will do it. So what's the central point in Bhakti Marga? It is about attaining God realization. God realization, which implies to realize your true identity, your true self, to realize the part which you are and the relationship which you have with the everything. And how you do that, you have different tools, 4 tools: getting the right knowledge, having the right meditation techniques, expressing yourself through devotional arts, and doing the rituals to establish the relationship more and more. All of this can take place by yourself, but mainly in a big sangha, in a community, in a worldwide community of individuals which are like-minded and which support each other, which grow each other, which uplift each other. This whole path is done with an attitude of service, of selfless service, eternal service in love. That is how we live our life in Bhakti Marga, and of course through the spiritual master, through his guidance, through his love, through his upliftment, and finally through his grace are we capable of attaining this ultimate goal of God realization, our love relationship with God. This is an introduction to Bhakti Marga. If you're interested, go on the webpage, leave a comment if you have questions. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, do subscribe, and if you want to be notified when a new video comes out, just hit the notification bell. Like I said, this session of Bhakti Marga philosophy is now over. I will see what the next videos are going to be, the next themes are going to be. If you have any requests, feel free to put them on the comment group in the comments. And yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. I hope you got inspired, maybe also to dive a bit more within, or to get to know a little bit more about this beautiful path, and to also take the opportunity to be in the presence of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. Share with friends and family, whoever you want. And in that sense, I wish you a nice weekend and take good day.